We're back. This is Health This Week. I'm Don Baillargeon. Thanks for staying with us. I'm joined in studio now by Dr. Sheila Foreman, a clinical psychologist, very good friend of us here at Health This Week. Sheila, it was good to see you.
Thanks, Don.
You know, I was talking to you a couple of days ago. Actually, we were emailing, and we were talking about certain things that we wanted to discuss on the program. And one thing that popped up in my mind was the subject of a bad boss. Yep. We've all dealt with it at one time or another. Person can make your life miserable, can put so much stress on you. I mean, how do we deal with the bad boss?
I wish there were a magic bullet for that one, to tell you the truth. We all have, from one time or another, experienced the bad boss. And a bad boss can mean so many things. A bad boss can be someone who's a poor manager, who doesn't take good care of their staff and creates tension among employees. A bad boss can be someone who is very ill-tempered and very easy to fly off the handle. A bad boss can be somebody who's very critical and judgmental. So how we handle a bad boss depends in part of how we define that bad boss. But whatever the common denominator is, part of it really is about the culture of the organization and learning how to live within it if you can, and if not, sometimes you have to live without it.
Okay, but let's dig a little deeper into this if we can. I mean, maybe before we put all the blame on the boss, is it possible that we should look inward to make sure that A, we're doing the best job possible, that we have a happy attitude about our work, and so on and so forth? I mean, should we do that first before laying all the blame on someone else? I'm
so glad that you suggested that, because that is actually always my first suggestion, but people don't like to hear that. They say, no, 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 it's the boss. Sometimes we have to take a look at ourselves. Is there something that we are doing that is provoking this reaction in our boss, that's maybe making the situation worse? And if the answer to that is yes, then our homework is to fix that, to change what we can within ourselves to make sure that we are doing the best job we can on the job. And then if our boss still reacts poorly, well, then we know it's about the boss and not about our own performance.
Well, of course, in life as general, you're going to run across people that you just don't click with. And if you're in a large corporation, you stand even a greater chance that someone you're working with or for, there's going to be some degree of a personality conflict. Is it possible to have a, maybe not harmonious, but at least working relationship with someone that you, outside of the workplace, really can't stand?
Absolutely. I call it coexisting. You don't have to be best friends with your boss. In fact, most of the times it's not a good idea to be best friends with your boss. You want to be colleagues. You want to be employer-employee. But sometimes what we have to do is learn who that other person is, and I call it learning to speak their language. Sometimes we have to understand who they are and how they tick, and then approach them from that way so that we can get heard, we can get our needs met, and we can coexist with them in the workplace.
Okay, let's look at this situation. If we went back in time, say 3 or 4 years, when we had something like 96, 97% employment, and we had a bad boss, it was really easy to tell that boss to go take a long walk off a short pier because there was 10 other jobs waiting for you. Now we're approaching 10% unemployment in the United States, and we've got a really bad boss, but you're thinking, I have a job. How do you deal with that situation? Because we don't know that this is going to go away anytime soon.
Right. Sometimes leaving the job is not an option for all kinds of reasons, one of them being, of course, the unemployment rate. There could be many other reasons why you wouldn't want to leave a job. If you have a really intolerable boss, one suggestion is to find someone else in the company who could be a mentor or supervisor to you, somebody else that maybe you can report to or you can get guidance and instruction for. Oftentimes, especially in a bigger corporation, that exists, so that you rely less on your boss, you interact less with them, and you find someone else with whom you can engage and get your work done.
What if you have a personality like mine where, you know, direct approach always seems to work? Does it make sense to approach this person and say, hey, you know what, we're not clicking. What can we do to improve our relationship? Or am I setting myself up to get canned?
You're not necessarily setting yourself up to get canned. It's more about how you approach it and what you do. One thing I recommend to people is to keep a record, a journal of incidences, maybe a list of what's not working and what is working. And when they've really collected their thoughts and they're clear, call their boss, schedule an appointment, do it in private, and sit down and say, these are some of my concerns. These are some of the things that are not working for me. How can we work better together to make our jobs work so that we're doing the best we can for our department or our company?
Dr. Sheila Foreman, we like to call her the good boss of the West. Dr. Sheila Foreman. For more information, visit her website, drsheila.com. Sheila, thanks so much.
Thanks, Don.